Hello, it's Nikki. Today I want to share some sexy numbers with you. And I want to do this because firstly, I want to show you that I am doing this work with you. I am figuring it out as I go. I am trialing things out. I am failing. I am picking myself up. I'm getting re-inspired. I'm moving in different directions. I am having a go. I'm learning things behind the scenes and feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. I'm having enormous breakthroughs. I'm having life-changing moments. I am doing all of it, all at the same time. So let me give you a bit of a context to my year so far. And there's a whole series on my channel about the lessons that I've learned. So if you want to go deeper, you can watch some of those videos. But this year for me has really been the ultimate rearrangement. I knew that I needed to question. It was like the X Factor 6-chair challenge or something like that, but less brutal, but actually not really. I wanted more direction, more purpose, more clarity in my personal brand. And so at the beginning of the year, I became a challenger, meaning I looked at all the different parts of my personal brand, of my business, of my life, of my money-making activities, of my relationships, of how I was spending my time. And I invited them all to sit at the metaphorical table. And I decided that not everything could stay because I wanted to invite some new things to that table. And there wouldn't be enough seats for all of the things. And I also knew that some of those things had been at that table for way too long. And they'd just been doing the equivalent of being on their phone. You know, not participating, just kind of like talking about themselves, having a bit of a yawn. You know, they weren't present. They weren't contributing. They weren't in the moment. They weren't in the mix. And so that is how I began my year, taking a piece, taking an element and analyzing it and looking at it and asking myself whether it got to stay or not. And one of the things that I was questioning was my YouTube channel. And this YouTube channel was started in about 2017, I believe. And it's been okay. Nothing more than that. I love YouTube. I watch it all the time. But for me personally, it's been okay. No rapid growth particularly. I almost was using it slightly as a filing system. So I would like just put my content there. But almost it felt like it had the energy of putting books in a library, like or on a shelf in at home. And the things felt dusty. It felt like nobody had touched them for years. Like it didn't feel like somebody had read that thing. Somebody had loved that book. And so when I was asking, does this thing get to stay? And my answer intuitively was yes, I feel like this will be a good thing. And also it feels like a big waste if I get rid of everything, especially if I'm going to continue talking about this topic. So the follow-up question to that was, okay, if it gets to stay, then it has to earn its place at the table. And what that looked and felt like in the specifics was it had to grow. It had to make money. It had to take me somewhere. So this was at the end, this was all like during the first half of the year. And then finally at the end of May, I said to myself this, right, let's look at the numbers. So I was about 70K total views. So really not massive in the scheme of things at the end of May 2025. And I am a great visual learner. So when I can see 70, I can see 100. Like I know what that looks like as a percentage. I know what that looks like as a pie chart, or I can see they're very familiar numbers to me. So I decided, okay, if this YouTube channel is going to stay, then I am going to make a plan to get to 100. And I did this in a very simplistic way. And the plan mainly consisted of, I'm going to put some time, energy, money, thought, education into figuring out how to do this. And I'm also going to make myself a homemade grid. So I got a piece of A4 paper and I drew out the squares that I needed to fill. And basically for every 100 views, I did a little square. And so I started it at the top, 70, and then I made all the boxes to 100K. And I stuck it on my fridge. And I told my partner, I told my kids what I was doing, and I said that they could be part of it. So if my numbers went up, they could colour in an extra square. Obviously, it was supervised as well because I didn't want any willy-nilly action. So I did all of that. So I started that on June the 1st. By July the 21st, so June the 1st to July 21st, about 7 weeks later, I had reached 100K. So from the 7-8 years before up until the end of May 2025, I'd got 70K. And then the following 7 weeks, I jumped 30K. So I had my 100K and I was like, yes, okay, this is great. I got to the end of my grid. And then, of course, it was the summer holidays. But I actively, on that day, got a brand new notebook and I drew out the next grids. And of course, my next goal was like, okay, 150K. And at this time, I don't really know what a predictable timeline is. And so to set goals that are really specific to a specific day are not that useful because sometimes it's not what you can control, it's the algorithm. And so I just thought, okay, I'm going to see how this goes. But guess what happened? Between the 21st of July and yesterday, so the 1st of September, I've now gone up to 150K. And that has not happened as a fluke or by accident. I have been churning this content. I have been putting my heart and soul and learning and tweaking and doing it all. I have put a lot of hours into this thing. But now I am at a point where I have created a grid to take me up to 1 million. Because suddenly, somehow, naively, in a deluded way, I think that's possible between now and Christmas. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but I feel like I can. I feel like if I keep doing what I'm going to do, it's going to have that compound effect. So what I want to ask you from this is, what is the specific thing that you want to grow, change, see results in, see development in, and are you willing to commit to it? Are you willing to have a go, to throw everything at it in a way that feels really good? And be willing to knock your own socks off. Be willing to explore that there could be more to this and that it could be easier and greater and more brilliant than you ever imagined. Because the inquiries I have had from this YouTube channel of people saying, I saw this, I saw your video, people who would never have found me in another way. Some people who are in the States, some people who are not in London, various other parts of Europe, people who are not necessarily in my niche, but somehow they have found me because I have been so active on YouTube. And the thing was, I knew that if I put time, effort in this, I knew video would work for me. It's my most, and I can write, but it's my most comfortable way. I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. That's what I trained in. I'm an actor by trade. I love telling stories. I love listening and learning. So if you want to do something side by side and really see what's what, I would love to help you. We can work together for 30 days or 100 days. But let me tell you this. We will work on the logistical strategic plan, but we'll also work on your mindset as well. Because that mindset, it's like it's going to turn up all the volume, all the noises, flashing the lights on and off. Because you are doing something new out of your comfort zone. So I would love to support you. I'd love to guide you step by step. And yeah, truly see what's possible. Lots of love. Send me a message. Let's book in a call and I'll catch you next time.